against Steph is never easy. He's one of the best players in the world and has been on a great run. I was just fortunate to hold my serve, I think, at the beginning of...
Novak Djokovic is one of the greatest tennis legends in the history of the sport.
Well, I don't think he's a threat. He's already there. You know, he's not anymore a young and up-and-coming player. He's already established top player. His rise to the top 10 of the world is incredible and super fast.
But there are some things that not even mega fans of the athlete know, and some of them are pretty shocking.
You can't forget those events, you know. It's one of these things that sticks with you, it stays with you for, I guess, the rest of your life. It was, yeah.
Starting off with one that shows his talent came at a very young age. And when I say very, I mean it.
Once, you know, you always have to think about overcoming your next challenge, your next match. I've played very well so far in the tournament, and hopefully I can. There are no secrets, you know, he knows my game very well.
Novak Djokovic began playing tennis at just 4 years old. It sounds like tennis was something that was just written in Djokovic's DNA, especially considering that he started playing the sport when he was really young. To be very specific, he picked up a tennis racket for the first time when he was just 4 years old. It happened after he used to go every day to a tennis camp to watch people play over there on the tennis court. Now, the camp was being conducted by none other than the famous Serbian tennis coach, Jelena Jencic. And after she noticed him coming again and again to the camp, she invited him to the court and asked him if he wanted to play with her. Little Novak accepted the offer, and that's how the world-famous tennis legend first began playing the sport.
I think sliding helps the change of direction, a quicker change of direction. I think it's because of skiing. I did a lot of skiing when I was younger, so I think that helps.
And he became a total force on the court. In fact, he was a nightmare to his opponents. Djokovic is pretty high up there on the list of the greatest tennis players of all time, and it ain't for no reason. He's one of the 4 players ever to defeat Roger Federer 3 times in 1 year. He's also one out of only 2 people to beat both Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal in a Grand Slam in consecutive matches. And that's not all. He's the only player in history to have ever defeated both Federer and Nadal in the same tournament on 3 different occasions.
I'm glad I was on the winning side today, and I want to thank you all for coming out and supporting both players today. Thank you so much. Well, thank you. I mean, this sport has given me everything. I owe a lot to this sport. Of course, I love it still with all my heart.
Like we said, he's a force to be reckoned with. But things weren't always sunshine and rainbows for the Serbian. He thought about retiring back in 2010. Not a lot of people know that Novak actually thought about retiring after his quarterfinal loss at Roland Garros in 2010. It happened after a very hard-fought 5-set match against a low-ranked player, which made him question his tennis abilities and whether he really had a future in tennis. Thankfully for us, he chose to keep going, and for good reason too. Anyway, enough about the tennis side of this tennis legend. Did you know that Djokovic is a vegan? Yeah, that's right. A lot of fans might be surprised to know that Novak is a full-blown vegan and eats a plant-based diet. He's also gluten intolerant, which means he doesn't eat any gluten. He also refuses to consume any dairy and red meat besides refined sugar. Now, this might sound like a lot, but Djokovic credits this strict diet to revamping his fitness and making him the brilliant tennis player that he is today. Also, he's pretty talented in the culinary department as well. Djokovic makes his own food. Since he's so serious about following his diet plans so strictly, Novak Djokovic prefers to prepare his own food. For him, his diet as well as his fitness plans are the keys to his success, so he makes sure to follow it to a T. He believes in it so much that it was a huge part of his autobiography. Which brings us to the next cool fact about our favorite athlete. Djokovic published his own autobiography. Back in 2013, Novak came out with a book he titled Serve to Win, which is basically his own autobiography. In the book, which by the way became a New York Times bestseller, he not only talked about his early life and the struggles he faced along the way, but also in a lot of things that he believed in, such as his training habits, food and fitness plans, as well as his commitment to his career. Overall, it's a really fascinating insight into Djokovic's start, what it was like growing up in a war-torn Serbia and playing tennis in an empty swimming pool, and how chance played a part in becoming the person he is today, how he evolved, and his incredible dedication. By the way, This book is also credited for starting the gluten-free movement. Anyway, this isn't the only interesting thing about the tennis legend. You might be surprised to know that Noel is also multilingual. Okay, this might actually be the coolest thing about him. Sure, we all know that he's a Serbian, so that obviously means that he knows his native language, Serbian, very well. And he also knows how to speak English too. But not a lot of you know that the tennis legend knows 11 whole languages very fluently. Other than Serbian and English, Djokovic can speak and understand Arabic, Chinese, French, Italian, Japanese, Portuguese, Russian, as well as Spanish too. That is a lot. If there's one thing no one can deny about Djokovic, is that he is a man that keeps on impressing, which might make you wonder which lucky girl got the chance to call herself his wife. Well, the Serbian married his high school sweetheart. On the 10th of July 2014, Novak Djokovic and Jelena Ristic tied the knot. They were high school sweethearts and had actually been dating each other since 2005. It took about 8 years for them to finally get engaged in September 2013, and the rest is history. Currently, he's the father of 2 children, a son named Stefan Djokovic and a daughter named Tara Djokovic. Now, some of you might be wondering just how much the Serbian is worth. Well, look no further. It's $220 million. Interestingly, most of it comes from endorsements. Djokovic is currently sponsored by the likes of Head, Asics, Ultimate Software Group, Lacoste, Seiko Watch Corporation, NetJets, as well as Peugeot. He also gets a lot of money through tennis. Obviously, Novak's high net worth reflects just how well he's been doing in the sport, and he has a ton of supporters. But he's had rivals too, like Rafael Nadal. In fact, Rafael Nadal has been his on-court rival his whole career. Novak Djokovic is considered one of the best tennis players in the world, but so is Rafael Nadal. Whenever there's a match between these two tennis pros, fans all over the world get pretty excited about it. After all, throughout his entire tennis career, Rafael Nadal has been the main man who has been his staunch opponent. Okay, let's get back to a more lighthearted fact about Novak Djokovic. He loves mimicking his peers. Djokovic is a really entertaining tennis player. Ask anyone out there in the world of tennis. Now, besides how animated he always is at tennis matches and his really great sense of humor, Djokovic also really loves to imitate his fellow players, which includes his all-time rival Rafael Nadal, as well as a certain female tennis player, Maria Sharapova. And that's not the only unique thing about him. Djokovic likes eating grass. Well, not all grass, but apparently whenever the tennis legend goes to Wimbledon, he always makes sure to eat some of the grass there. Don't believe us? Just Google Djokovic eating grass and you'll find tons of pictures. And while it might sound weird at first, to be honest, it is, but the Serbian says it tastes like sweat. We can't really say why you would want to eat grass that tastes like sweat, but that's just something that Djokovic likes to do at Wimbledon. By the way, this unique habit probably isn't limited to Wimbledon, but we can't confirm. And that's a wrap for this video. Were you surprised to know any of the facts on the list? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.